Alright, so I am Metal Hedgie. Thank you, for anybody viewing this. This is my second video. And this will be my video where I talk about, my love for Dragon Age, and where I'll go into detail talking about everything that makes this game, this series, such a masterpiece in my mind of, how creative people can be. So, to present this, Dragon Age properly, I'm going to show you guys this cutscene that comes up when I go through that, past those torches there. And it is the army, or the human army of Ferelden fighting against the Darkspawn. The Darkspawn, of course, being your big bad enemy of this game. And, I'm not going to talk through it, I'll let it go through. But I love this video because you get how they really did a good job of showing humans in this fight. They show everybody getting ready to fight. There's a part where one dude tries to back out, but dude behind him pushes him forward to get back in the front line. It shows that humans are scared, but that yet even though we are scared, we must fight for our survival. So they did really good at showing the humanizing and this, of course, the humans, whatever. Good character presentation, I guess. And they do such a good job on showing the Darkspawn, because they show, exactly how, monstrous they look, and how much of just a swarming, malicious, evil that they are, where they just charge through, and they do a good job of making it look almost like an endless horde is running toward this small army of humans. So, without any more rambling from me, let's go ahead and show you this cutscene. And after the cutscene, I will, do more talking. King Cailan and your mentor Duncan.
Of course it will. The blight ends here. across the bridge and get to the Tower of Ishal.
And with that, I present Dragon Age. I love that cutscene. I really do. It does so well at setting up the game, and this bridge crossing scene is great because if you just run across it like you normally would, you're going to get hit with fireballs from their artillery. So you actually have to watch. I mean, it doesn't do much damage. You basically just watch if you don't want to get knocked down. So like here, I'll probably get knocked down again. Yep, see? And I love that. I really do. Alright, so now my history with Dragon Age does play an effect on my love for the game. See, before Dragon Age, which I did not play Dragon Age until I was about 18. Before then, the only RPGs I had ever played were Pokemon, which I still debate on whether or not that's an RPG. I don't know. It doesn't have like the character customization and all that stuff that I associate with RPG, and but whatever. As well as KOTOR, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and that was also by BioWare, and that that was my first true taste of an RPG, but I had never beaten it as a kid. Now this one, however, was the first game RPG I had ever played and beaten, and the cool thing about this game is there's actually multiple beginnings. So, for example, my first playthrough was of a human noble, and I think that was such a glorious intro to the game, because you play as a human. You start off as a human noble who, his brother and his dad are going to lead the army off to Ostagar, where you are now, to fight the Darkspawn, and one of your dad's noble's friends comes and visits. Duncan shows up. Mind you, Duncan, the guy in the white suit you saw earlier in the intro next to King Kalen, shows up in every big origin for every character, because he is how you are recruited. He is the leader of the Ferelden Grey Wardens, who Grey Wardens in Dragon Age are the only ones who can end a blight. A blight being when the Darkspawns, en masse, flood the surface and try to kill everything. So, but there was more to that origin than just, oh, you're a noble. It was, you send your brother to lead your army off, the dad's going to show up, a few days or a week later, and you get betrayed by your dad's noble friend. So you have to fight your way through as your servants are getting killed, as you go to a room to find that your brother's wife and child are dead, as you go through and you see this murder and this betrayal, and of course your dad and your mother die at the end, and it's really sad. It really is. It gives you this sense of, I must avenge my family, and that took place for my character throughout the main game. That was my main intention until, and then I saw this scene and I was like, okay, well, as much as I want revenge for that family, I really need to fight the Darkspawn. But later throughout the game, you will get that revenge on for your family, and that was great. So, let's go ahead and keep playing. So I'm actually doing something. I don't think, is my spell active? Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm playing as a mage. There are 3 classes. And I'm playing as a mage. So you have mage, rogue, and warrior. And you can, customize them a bit, and, of course, and you can get all your skills. And I'll show you some of my skills that I have here. Mage are not really that frontline fighter, so let's hit 1 and launch a spirit thing. Let's run up and do fire. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Let's hit them with that, and then see if you hit them with the spell I have down here, which is Walking Bomb. They explode when they die and cause damage to enemies around them. So mages are a really cool thing to have. You can get really creative with the way mages are. And I actually think I'm going to turn on the volume of the game a bit more, just so you guys can hear me a bit better. And of course, you know, it's all about looting your enemies. What does he have? He has an acid flask. Take all. Okay. Now, as is playing here in the cutscene, the music for this game is really good. Where's my enemy? Okay, dead, loot. No, I don't want to play as Alistair. Alistair is bro. Alistair is alive. Throughout the game you get multiple, I'm forgetting how to play this apparently. Throughout the game you get multiple companions. And, you know, they all vary in personality. You do certain things, one will hate you, another will praise you. So, you know, and your companions are who you fight with. These guys, they die. But, you know, they're just cannon fodder. However, Alistair is is the Grey Warden recruit who was recruited before you were. And he's the one he's actually your senior. However, throughout the game, he lets you decide the fate of everything. Because, he's a follower. He doesn't really want to lead. He doesn't want, that responsibility. However, you find out maybe part of the mentality is because you find out he is actually King Caelan's half-brother. He's the bastard child of the king. So, later on throughout the game, you can actually try to get him set up as King of Ferelden, which is really cool. He hates you for it, by the way. He does not want to be king. He doesn't want anything to do with that. He hates that part of himself. I'm hitting left click and it's right click to attack. So, but he is meant as your kind of the comedy relief. You have friends you have allies who will bullshit with him, who will assault him. Morgana, who's the next ally you get, will really hammer in the jokes about him being stupid and an idiot and worthless, and it's great. You can add on to the jokes as well. And it's little things like that that I love the BioWare games for, is it's not just a focus on how's your character doing, it's a focus on how your group is doing. So it's part of the reason to attack these guys. It's part of the reason I love Mass Effect so much. It's part of the reason I love KOTOR so much. I keep hitting the wrong button, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, I should probably hit 6 so I can light everybody's weapons on fire so we can actually do more fire damage. Seeing he just blew up because I had hit that walking bomb spell. So, this game does these games, this developer, BioWare, they do so well on focusing on not just the great hero. They also want to focus on your companions, your friends, your allies, your love interests. Because that's the thing with BioWare games, is you get love interests. Or at least with, Mass Effect and Dragon Age. Every game there's multiple people you can romance and eventually bone and, have, tender relationships with. Or, 2, you could do... you have a companion who's a pirate rogue, and you can basically just bone her for fun. But, but this game has a lot of different companions. You have Morgana, who's the really dark, doesn't give a crap about anyone or anything, and it's just except for how to increase her power. And you have, which Morgana you will see once I get past this part. There is also Liliana, who is my favorite romance character. Alright, see this tripwire? Once I cross it, we're gonna blow. So, I'm gonna back up. Oh, wait. Nope, just does it for me. Oh, and it wasn't explosive, it was poison. Slow? No, it was slowing me down. So, you have, you'll get Shell. Shell's the DLC character. But, however, he seems to be free at this time, after all these years. So there's you can have the DLC for free. Little quests for him, but Shell is this this big old golem you can have on your side to, smash enemies apart. And Shell is a mandatory member of my teams in every game. I just really like Shell. Shell is funny because Shell was frozen for 20-something years. So Shell has a infinite hatred of birds from being, shat on so much. So, you can always hear, so Shell's, thing is it just wants to kill birds and smash everything in front of it. And Shell's great. Shell's Shell's worth, the DLC. So here we can upgrade my character. So let's do this real fast. He's a warrior. I'm going to up his health so I don't have to keep trying to heal him so much. Let's see. You have all your abilities. I do really like passive abilities in this game. But, see, warrior can do almost every weapon in this game, short of a, magic. So, but some warriors are better focused on weapon and shield, like Alistair. He's better focused on weapon and shield. It fits more with his character. Whereas Sten. Trying to remember names now. Sten is he's another character you get later on, and he focuses on two-hand weapons. So let's up my shield defense for Alistair, and we'll call that good. Okay. So, let's see. Sorry, I have a list right next to me of things that I wish to talk about. And so I'm just going to knock down that list and go through it. So, let's go with Darkspawn. Now, Darkspawn I really like as an enemy for this game, because they're not just monstrous cave creatures. They're not just dangerous on a physical level, they're dangerous on a biological level. Because the thing about them is that they actually can infect people with what's called the taint. And what that is it basically like if you get their blood in you, or their weapons are also infected, covered in crap to infect you with. You can see I keep hitting that spell, and I'm sorry. You can, you will slowly die a very grueling and painful death. And it sucks. It really does. So, but it's not, I don't know, I always love that part of the Darkspawn, where it's not just this, I'm going to chop you up. I'm going to chop you up. I'm going to corrode you from the inside out. I'm going, you may kill me, but you will still die. And that's something I've really liked about them. Okay, what's this guy? This guy is warrior. No, this guy is actually a rogue. So let's see if he can unlock chests. No, he can't. Okay. Only rogues have the ability to unlock chests. So if you play as a rogue, you have the absolute ability to rummage and ransack everything you find. So you have to have a rogue mandatory on your team. So, for example, the best team I have found for these games is 2 warriors, 1 mage, and 1 rogue. The rogue is basically meant so you can, scavenge everything you find. Is there anybody out here? No, okay. Let's take this. Let's get acid flask. Okay. Rogues are meant for, good for backstabbing, good for a bow, good for, your daggers and stuff. And like I said, the best thing about them is you can ransack everything. And mages are good for, taking out, dealing massive damage to, groups of enemies, doing large amounts of damage in general. See, you found gifts. Gifts you can give to your allies to increase their opinion of you. So, and you get your 2 warriors across your up front, assault. So, and I've just always found that has been the best setup for running a campaign through this game, is to have, the 2 warriors, 1 rogue, 1 mage, because you can only have 4 guys. So, let's see, what's next on that list? Let's go with General All Disease. So, not a lot of chests, okay. So look at this design here. They have ransacked this place. They've killed everyone. You have bodies everywhere. They have bodies hanging like clothes, which I think I'm laughing at that. You have these little shrine things that they've thrown together, marking their territory. The designs are just really well done. And there's some things up here that I'm going to show you that I really like. So, alright, let's go to the next floor so I can show you some of them. Now, the designs are really good. They have the fanciful fantasy look, but they are still very grounded. You're not gonna see any, flying carts for magic or any really high fantasy stuff. Okay, see, here's the thing. You can talk to your character, or your allies, and certain points they will want to talk to you. So, he was complaining earlier that we weren't going to get a fight. Our job was to come up here, light the fire when told to, and it was send down the rest of the army to flank the Darkspawn and wipe them out. So let's reply with this.
You're right. I guess there is a silver lining here if you think about it. At any rate, we need to hurry. We need to get up to the top of the tower and light the signal fire in time. Cairn Loghain will be waiting for the signal.
So, let's talk about something real fast. Alistair is what's known as a Templar, and I am a mage. So, and this is probably the most fascinating thing to me in this whole series, is the mage and Templar relationship and mages in general. Mages are not just, I learned magic, let's do this. It's, people can use magic because there's a thing called a Fade, which is, layman terms, dream world. And it's where the demons are. It's not hell, it's not heaven, it really is best described as just a dream world where demons take on personifications of, greed, gluttony, pride, sloth, things like that, desire, or, rage. They take on things like that, or, and most of them just want to be released into our world to kill humans. So, but the thing about mages is power is drawn from the Fade itself. So mages are feared because mages tend to get possessed by demons and become what's known as abominations. So, to counteract that, the Templar Order was created, so that Templars could watch over the mages and kill them if they turned. So, it has become this very oppressive, kind of stalemate, I guess, where the mages understand their place of, we could turn and kill everyone, if we get possessed by a demon, and we don't want that. However, we don't like being forced, we don't like feeling like dogs on a collar, whereas the Templars are, we know we need to do this. Some Templars, have more fear and hatred for mages, whereas other Templars actually respect the fact that these are my fellow humans. They're not just weapons waiting to be turned on us. They're actually human beings. So it's really good, interaction between them. And Templars are, related to the Chantry, and the Chantry being the church of this place. So let's lead this on to the Chantry. The story goes is that there was a guy, the Maker. He created everything, and of course, I'm gonna stop for a second to show more of this design where they burned and looted and slaughtered everything. And I really like this. So let's go in here, and we'll keep going and fighting. So, the Chantry is the religious thing, and you can actually, depending on how, what conversations you or sentences you say, how you interact with things, you can actually, act like you're faithful to the Chantry. You can act like you don't care. And I'm going to pause on that for a second and show you this. So these are two ballistas they have set up. So your best bet is coming around like I did, and now you can just fire ballistas. And this ballistas will actually, hit your enemies. I didn't hit any this time. I'm usually really good at, nailing the enemies, but... So am I gonna get someone? Oh, yeah, see, I just knocked that guy on his ass right there. See, it's little things like that I think are so good. Oh, I just hit my guys. Didn't mean to do that. So we got more guys coming here. Let's burn the path. Light them on fire. So, but it's really, they have this religious thing. Of course, every religion is a necessity for, mankind, because, people need a way to explain what they can't understand. So we exist. Why do we exist? Maker decided to make us. But the story goes, and this leads into the Darkspawn actually, is mankind once found a way to go into the Fade and reach the Maker himself, because mankind had decided that they were better than the Maker, and then these guys were known as the Magistrators. They corrupted everything because of their sins of pride and everything else and their desires. They corrupted everything. So ever since then, it has been said that the Maker has kind of forsaken humanity. So a lot of people believe the Maker is dead, blah blah blah, and it's little things like that I like it. And also, Darkspawns are supposed to be the essence of the evil left over by the Magistrators from when they invaded the Darkspawn, or invaded the Maker's realm. So, it's little things like that. It's a nice way to explain, like, why do we have these monstrous creatures? We got elves, we got dwarves, we got, all this different stuff. How are we to explain this tainting creature that destroys everything? Let's say they're leftover scent, basically. So, let's see. What else should we talk about? Talk about religion. Well, let me just play for a second here. Another luck chest. More loot. Okay, so let's talk about inventory real fast. You get a lot of stuff like elf root and all this stuff to make like potions and poisons and all this stuff that I have honestly never messed with, because I am always a combat focused character, so I don't really mess with this stuff. Not to say that they're not useful, I am just, however, a very combat focused person. So let's go forward. Let's talk about humor for a bit, because I really love this game's sense of humor. For example, if you do a human noble start, you go, you're told to go get your dog out of the kitchen. Alright, my dogs ran into the kitchen, let's go get them. Turns out there was a bunch of, giant rats in the pantry, so you, your dog, and your buddy fight the rats, blah blah blah, and your buddy goes, this sounds like the start of every bad adventure. Because in a lot of RPGs, it's like, oh, fight this rat, this is your starter enemy. And that was something I thought was really funny. I love things like that. Like, for example, shell-hitting birds. 3 has probably my favorite character of the whole series. Second favorite, because Varric from 2 and 3 is the best character. But he's called Iron Bull. And there's a point where you get to see a dragon fly above head and go to another area. And Bull, loses it. He's like, boss, we're gonna fight that, right? Boss, tell me we're gonna fight that. And it's great. You gotta love that interaction. So, here we are. Fire before they get here. Little blood spray. Never hurt anyone. So, it's just, this game has really good humor. They slide in the jokes, like Morgana dissing, Alistair, and, you can make jokes yourself about things. And as you can see, wizards are kind of worthless except for their spells. This little staff thing doesn't do anything. However, you get subclasses. So, let me go actually to this. Where is it? Journal. If I find it. Here you go. So if you get something like this, it tells you your mage, it tells you all your stats, your origin, your race. Now let's go to Alistair. Now he is a warrior plus a Templar. So Templar is not just a name of your job in this game. It is actually a class of warrior. So you have warriors have like Reavers and who are all about that damage dealing. Templars are about neutralizing magic. All that stuff like that. And Mage has, Shapeshifter. I can turn myself into a bear, a giant spider. You have a Spirit Healer, which is meant, for healing and everything, obviously, and all the different things you can do with that. You have Blood Magic, which is meant for using blood. Blood Magic, by the way, is a very cursed, very forbidden way of doing magic, because it involves the Fade so much more than regular magic does. It's almost a absolute direct link to the Fade itself. And so it's a very cursed thing, and is a very forbidden, because almost everybody who delves in blood magic ends up infected by a demon. So it's the fastest way to get, being, possessed by a demon, and so it's forbidden. However, you can specialize in it. And then the one I like most from Mages, is the Arcane Warrior. You find that by going through a certain because the way this game is broken up is you have multiple sections. You have to get treaties you have to go and unite all the races of Ferelden by fulfilling treaties. You have to, let's say for example, I need to go to the elves. The elves are being attacked by werewolves, and they can't help you until you get rid of the werewolves. So you go through the campaign, you figure out what's going on with the werewolves, blah blah blah. The story for that I actually really like why there are werewolves, why they're attacking. It's really interesting. But while you're attacking the old deserted, or not deserted, the ancient temple that the werewolves are hiding in, you find you actually find a way to learn Arcane Warrior, which allows you to wear armor and weapons. Therefore, because of that, my character is instantly useful in combat. Because not only am I able to run in and hack and slash and block and whatever, and deal damage directly, much more better and efficient than my little staff does from range, I can also, I can take more hits because I can wear armor. I can actually, suffer damage. And the thing is that, mixing that with the fact that, alright, I'm raining a fireball, here's a fire tornado, I'm throwing a blizzard in, here's a thunderstorm, I'm, doing all the things that mages can do, mixed with that, you're a bit slower on casting your spells, but the fact that you can, deal damage much better to single enemies, as well as still do your, multiple enemy hits that mages can do, makes them very efficient, that I have found. So let's go in here. Now here's another thing. So we're going to run over here, and we're going to hit this lever, and it releases the Hounds of War. Alright, I know that's crappy, but whatever. And it's things like this. If you pay attention to your environment. See, I just leveled up. In a second after this fight, I'll show you what my character can do leveling up. So it's just there's always little things like you can do like that, like look around your environment, try to find ways to turn the battle to your advantage. If you play as a rogue, you can go invisible and start setting up traps and stuff. So and then when you alert the enemy and they run towards you, they all get caught in these traps that does damage to them, or stalls them, or whatever it is. I apologize, I need a drink because I'm actually getting a little dry mouth from rambling. Oh yeah, I was going to show character customization. So, my guy, what am I going to focus on? Of course, magic and willpower. Willpower is actually my mana pool. So the more willpower I have, the better it will do. But here's the thing. These will tell you exactly what your things, what these stats will help with your character. And they even tell you which one, like dexterity. Where is it? They'll tell you, basically they'll tell you stuff like, here it is. Basically all this part, mages can cast more spells thanks to deeper mana pool. For warriors and rogues, willpower grants more stamina for combat techniques and special attacks. So willpower is still a very important thing for rogues and warriors. However, it's much more important for, mages. And up here were the specializations I was telling you about: Arcane Warrior, Blood Mage, Spirit Healer, and Shapeshifter. So let's go next. So what am I going to specialize in? Or what stat do I want next? Death Siphon? No. What about this one? Death Magic? I forgot why I specialized in this. Okay, this is a healing spell. That's what that was. So, while activate this caster draws in nearby entropic energy, draining residue life forces from any dead enemies nearby to heal a caster. So this can heal me while I'm running around. You know, so like when you're in a big battle and there's a bunch of enemies and you're fighting, you know, it's good that you have that spell up and you can start healing yourself. Light on my fire. You know, this combat system is, you know, it's decent. You know, it's not the worst combat. It's not the best. You know, 2, everybody craps on 2, but I think 2 is a really good game. And 2 did so much better at, like, you know, tweaking the combat, making it much more fast-paced and enjoyable. Alright, so let's go. Anything else in here? Just another chest. So, let me see what else I have on here I need to cover. You know, how about we talk about morality choices? There's a choice, for example, earlier in the game I went past a downed soldier while we were out in the field, and he was all messed up. His, you know, patrol had been attacked by Darkspawn and killed. So we had the option of healing him, leaving him there, or I could also, there was an option where I slit his throat and left him to die. You know, you can also do things like, okay, you could take the werewolf thing, for example, again. You know, you can actually put the werewolves on your army instead of the elves, and you would kill the elves. Let's go and talk about that real fast. Because, for example, the dwarves. When you go to get the dwarves on your side, you can also do this thing where instead of, you know, having dwarves in your army, you can replace them with golems, depending on what your choice is at the end of that segment of the game. So there's a lot of things like that, you know, your little choices like that. You know, for example, you can go to a place known as the Urn of Sacred Ashes. Now, to get there earlier, to not fight certain guys, you could basically agree, well, I'll go defile these ashes and pour dragon's blood in them. And, you know, you can do that or not, whatever. You can say you're going to do it, but not do it later. Or, however, you could actually do it and, you know, destroy the Urn of Sacred Ashes. Now, the Urn of Sacred Ashes is... Sorry about that. The Urn of Sacred Ashes is actually the Urn of the Ashes of Andraste herself. Andraste being basically considered the wife of the Maker. She is the most revered and most important person in human history because of the things she had done. And mind you, let's talk about history now, because the history for this game is really interesting. Like, you find out, like, you know, this country was taken over for 100 years by the Orlesians, another empire, who you've only recently been freed from. I think it was like 30 or 40 years ago or something like that. And let's go ahead and open this door and fight while I'm talking. Anyway, so, you know, and that is actually, you know, there's stuff like that, whereas basically the entire world used to be run by the Tevinter Imperium. Because, unlike in Ferelden, where the Templars govern the mages, and Tevinter Imperium, the mages run the country. The mages are the absolute power that run everything, because they are better than everyone. So, because of that, you know, it's, let's go ahead and take this real fast. Alright, let's go to the next floor, shall we?
It's begun.
Alright, I'm flipping the page to see what else I want to talk about. So we talked about building an army. I don't think I really covered the the building the army thing, because that is really a very important thing, considering, everything you have to do. You gotta get the orcs, the elves, the humans, not orcs, dwarves, elves, humans. But yeah, this is an ogre. These things are actually kind of fun to fight, because they're just... Oh, why did I do that? That was terrible. I forgot what this was, but very much. Let's do that. No, I still miss. I'm terrible at this. I promise you, I can play this game. It's kind of hard to play it and talk at the same time. And then watch this. You get really cool kill cams for ogres and some enemies. And they don't always activate, but like the more you play the game, the more you'll get them. So you get this feel of progression of being more, a better and better warrior. And it's really nice. There's something here to like scavenge. It's over here. Here it is. Okay.
I shall do it.
But yeah, you have to build your army for the final battle of the game, and you have to, because you're going through a city fighting hordes, armies of darkspawn. Especially at the very last battle of that, where you're trying to fight, the archdemon, and it's just this massive dragon that's just slaughtering everything, on top of summoning hordes and hordes of darkspawn, and you just have to keep fighting. And you can summon your army, depending on how well you stock them up, because you actually need to pay things to stock them up. For example, the elves need things like elf root and death root to stock their army, whereas dwarves need gems, and humans need money, and the mages need runes. So you can go in with a minimum army, or you can go in with the most prepared army in history. And I like that. Now this bastard, he was supposed to come in, however, he is retreating. This is King Kaelin's uncle, and he is leaving his nephew to die because he didn't believe in Kaelin's belief of the Grey Wardens. He didn't, he doesn't believe in the way Kaelin does things. He believes that he can run things better. And this is where I'm going to talk about him. I like Tegan. That's his name, Tegan. No, it's not. Tegan's a different character. This is, I can't think of his name now. Well, I'll let this cutscene go off, and then I'll finish talking about No, whatever will happen to my king. Duncan realizes what happened. And Duncan is dead. My mentor is dead. which means now we are the only two guys left. The only two Grey Wardens left in Ferelden. And that sucks. Because now it's just me and Alistair, two rookie recruits, that have to try to do everything. We have to build this. And I like this because you go from the rookie recruits to the most respected individuals in Ferelden because we put the armies together. We funded the armies. We talked everybody into working together. We are leading the army into the battle. And we are the ones who get things done.
Ah, your eyes finally
and
opened.
this is
Mother should
Morgana.
be pleased.
So, of course, more dialogue. Where am I?
Back in the
I know where I
wilds,
am,
of
but,
course.
you know,
I am
character's
Morgan,
sake, let's say I
lest you
don't.
have forgotten, and I have just bandaged your wounds. You are welcome, by the way. How does your memory fare? Do you remember Mother's rescue? The man who was to respond to your signal quit the field. The Darkspawn won your battle. Those he abandoned were massacred. Your friend, he is not taking it well. The suspicious dim-witted one who was with you before, yes. He is outside by the fire. Mother asked to see you when you awoke. I will stay and bring something to eat.
I like Morgana. She's a good character. She doesn't care about anything but herself. But she's a good character. Although Morgana does have a very interesting thing she can do at the end of the game, which, you know, of course, I don't want to spoil too much about this game for anybody who wants to play it. But, however, I am going to talk about everything important, so I probably should have mentioned something about spoilers at the front of the game, and I apologize for that. So, anyway, let's go back to the guy who betrayed the king, the king's uncle. I can't remember his name. Alistair will probably say it in a minute.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive.
But throughout the game, you just see him as
Duncan's dead.
you know, you just hate this guy because he's trying to kill you. He's trying, you know, he just seems like this corrupt individual. But towards the end of the game, you realize why he's doing that. You realize that he's in such fear of Ferelden falling that he didn't see Kaelin as being able to properly protect it. Therefore, he had to do it. Because Kaelin was going to summon the Orlesian army to come help them. And Kaelin, or the other guy, couldn't have that because he had fought the Orlesian army. He had fought them all. And he was so afraid of being slaves to the Orlesians again. He was so afraid of he's basically his fear of the Orlesians that forced him to do what he did. And it's such a good humanizing thing. He wasn't driven by greed for power. He wasn't driven for, the glory of the kill. He was driven out of fear for going back to the way things used to be when he was a child, of being a slave to the Orlesians. And I really love that, because at the end of the game, you understand why he did it. However, you both also know you can forgive him or you can't. But that's more of that, because the endings get really interesting in this game. So, what can we say about Loghain? That's his name, Loghain. I apologize. I said his name. Not bro buddy Alistair.
Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the truth.
But this game really does make you feel like you have purpose. It makes you feel good for uniting the armies, for, you talk your way out of battle, you convince someone to do a good deed, because I always focus on, being it, there's a persuasion thing you can focus on in this thing. I haven't had the screen pop up, but it pops up sometimes when you're leveling up. And you can do different benefits, like get different benefits, like better in talking, better in, or better persuasion, better, you can pickpocket people, you can, make herbs, make traps, stuff like that.
It is said that long ago, The Maker sent the old gods of the ancient Tevinter Imperium to slumber in prisons.
So this game really makes you feel like you have purpose. This game makes you feel good for doing what's right. It makes you feel powerful for getting the best army. It does so well at what it does.
Ignore history.
Oh yeah, and so let's talk about unique dialogue for classes and races. If you're an elf, people will look down on you because elves are seen as slaves. And I like this. Elves aren't these snotty individuals like, say, Warhammer or Lord of the Rings. And here they were wandering nomads who humans basically fought and killed and then enslaved. So as an elf, you have two origins. You have the Dalish elf, which are the ones who are still nomadic and try to stay away from humanity because they don't want any more bloodshed or slavery from them. Whereas city elf is not so much slavery, much as very hated servants. Because you're so looked down on. And
all Grey Wardens in Ferelden.
It's really sad. And the elf city origin, holy crap, that's actually really dark. Because you're supposed to get married to this. It's your marriage day. You're supposed to get married. You and your cousin are both supposed to get married. And noble's son comes in, beats the crap out of you, takes the women, and goes. And then you find out the women were taken advantage of. Or at least it's highly implied that they were. They were taken advantage of, but they were most certainly abused. Because why would you care? Why would a noble care about some lowly elf, right? And it's really sickening. It makes you hate, the way things are. But you can work on changing this, especially as an elf. You can work so much on, you can really try to, at the end of the game, you can really work on trying to, help elves and stuff. And it's really nice.
Duncan was like a father to me. I won't let his death be in vain.
And as you've seen, let's talk about cutscenes real fast. You've seen some really nice cutscenes, and this game does have really good ones. Like, the army cutscene, or when you actually kill the the archdemon, or, there's just all these really cool cutscenes that they have. That, I don't know. This game is just done so well. I have nothing but compliments for this game. The combat needs some tweaking, but of course they fixed that with 2. And, 3 improved on that even more. So I have no complaints with this. This was a game where this initial game was great.
Me, I am just an old
and
woman who lives
it set up the world beautifully. This world was set up so perfectly, and then the next couple of games kept going and ran with it, and it was so good. It really was.
We must warn everyone this isn't the case.
And who will believe you? Unless you think to
I'm not really sure what else I can say, because this isn't a proper review. This isn't me actually reviewing the game. This is me ranting and rambling about my love for this game. And I would love to talk about the second one, because I think the second one is so underappreciated for the way it did. Because 2 went from, let's save a country, to let's save my family and take care of the city. And, there's a lot of backtracking. Of course you are. You're only in one city, in the area around it. Of course there's going to be backtracking. And, but they still, it gets kind of tedious at times, but it was still really well done. It did so well at making you connect with the city itself. It made you want to save the city. This was your new home. You were forced out of Ferelden because of the blight. So what are you supposed to do? Well, let's go save this. This is your new home. You have to defend it. And they did so well with that. They really did. And I hate that people shit on 2 so much when they really shouldn't. And 3's probably the one I like the least, honestly, because 3's the one I have plenty of issues with 3. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love 3. But nowhere near as much as I love 1 or 2. So, with that, I think I'm actually done with this video. I don't want to make it, an hour long. I know certain YouTubers who I love their hour-long videos, but I'm not them. And I'm sure I'm not that entertaining. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. And, actually, I should probably clarify the before I let you guys go, I should clarify real fast on how the companions work. Or the allies, whatever. Because right now I have Alistair, and I'm about to get Morgana. And then within the next 10 minutes, I'm going to get get a dog, I'm going to get Sten, and I'm going to get Liliana. And then after that, there's 3 more guys you can get. Sorry, 4 more, because you can get Shell, which is Shell. You can get the assassin who tries to kill you. I can't think of his name right now, but you can get him, and you can actually make him join your side or kill him after you deal with his ambush. You can, you'll get the drunken dwarf, who's my second favorite character in this after Alistair, who's awesome. He's a great character, who's trying to find his wife Bianca down in the Deep Rose, which leads to the whole, which is, all integrated into the dwarven section of the game, and as well as the wizard, or the mage, the female mage. I can't think of her name either, and I apologize. Who, she's a decent character, but she's really interesting when you find out she has a healing spirit. She has a spirit inside of her. Now, the Fate is not always good and bad, or not all bad spirits. There are good spirits as well, and she has a healing spirit, which is keeping her alive. She should have died multiple times in her life, but she's not, because the spirit has kept her alive. But her body is failing. The spirit is slowly kind of, there are things going on with her that lead to her thing. Because the more you talk to your characters, the more you progress through the game, or the more you talk to your allies, the more you progress through the game, the more you earn favor with them, you'll find out things about them. You get really interesting things. You'll find out why Sten was imprisoned. You'll find more out that Liliana, who claims to just be with a Chantry, who claims to just be with the Chantry, however knows weapons. Turns out she was an Elysian Bard, which are basically, spies and assassins, and the cover of bards, obviously. And you find out all these really nice details. So, I don't know, it's just, they do so much so well with this game on making you enjoy the game, on making you feel like you have actual relationships with, the leaders you talk to, with the allies that, defend you, help defend you and fight your enemies with you. And I have nothing but love for the first Dragon Age. I have nothing but love for the second Dragon Age. Dragon Age 3, I both want to stab and hug it and whatever. So, with that, I will actually let you go, and I hope everybody has a good day. I'm out.